So I don't know if people caught this, but there was a major tidbit shared by one of the developers at Undead Labs on what I'd say is features we could see for State of Decay 3, and this was done on a live stream last month, and what was said was a reference to a page that is publicly listed. Take a listen to this.
I will say this about the things that I know that are coming. They do come from the wish list, and they've been on the wish list for a while. I guess that's a big plug for keep engaging with the wish list, folks. Like, we are listening, and we're doing our best to stay up on things. It's also a very important part of how we're going to inform ourselves for State of Decay 3 going forward. So, you know, what you like about 2, what you don't like about 2 helps us make decisions on a much more meta level about like what the game can and should be.
Now, a lot of information was there, and I have to say, to me, this was a big deal. But before I explain why, let's go ahead and pay some bills and talk about Raid Shadow Legends. Did you guys know there are 7.5 billion humans in the world? And that's after all the training you and I have had learning to survive the apocalypse in our games. So let's not waste any time and play Raid Shadow Legends now. There are 700 champions to play, a new awesome faction called Sylvan Watchers, full of elves, crazy tree spirits, and monsters, and this faction is out for blood. There's also a safe space, a city called Naressa, and they've made friends with dwarves and Shadowkin. There's 3 factions, all with an in-game alliance. I have to say, pretty cool backstory, guys. There's tons of characters within these factions, with each champion being cool and unique. There is a new season of the Forge Pass where you earn in-game goodies and new champions, and a new Titan event to celebrate Raid's 4th anniversary, all coming with rewards. New players from the US also get to vote your favorite starter champion, and this runs from now till February 10th, and you can win insane champions, in-game items, and Amazon gift cards worth up to $1,000. New players use my link or scan the code on the screen and get a free starter pack with awesome in-game loot. You can also get Ronda Rousey simply by logging into Raid for 7 days before February 20th. Use promo code RAIDRONDA. All the goodies will be sent straight to your inbox. All right, so first I want to make sure I put what was said on that live stream in a little bit more context. They want people to engage with the wish list because that helps them inform the team on what features you might want to see for State of Decay 2. So he was talking about State of Decay 2 at the very start, but what really caught me was how he referenced the wish list being almost a guide on what's going to help them inform them about the next game, which is State of Decay 3. And to me, this is huge, at least in my eyes, and let me explain. If you head over to the wish list and you sort by things that are most voted, you see features that are not currently in the game and that more than likely never will be because there's just too many limitations, and some of these features are just too complicated to fit into a game that was developed or at least released 5 years ago, and it was in development even before that. So for example, the relationship system here is literally the second top requested feature. This is almost like a aha moment, because if you've been following my channel, and I'm the only person who has managed to find this, no one else has talked about this. Over a year ago, Undead Labs was hiring for a position to help implement a relationship system. So the team over at Undead Labs know that this is something we all want to see, and based on that job, they are absolutely looking to implement it. Now, a relationship system between your community and characters and the highs and lows that comes with all that will be absolutely amazing and very much an immersive way to experience this game. And again, it sounds like they are using this reference page, this wish list, as a launching point for features we didn't get to see in State of Decay 2, and we have the evidence that they are following through. Now, if you guys scroll down a little bit more, there is another one that's highly voted, and I absolutely think we will see this one, and I'm actually going to be shocked if we don't. That is the one here where it says enclaves or survivors that roam the map dynamically. Now, I don't have any evidence or references that this will come to the next game, but this is something that I not only see on this wish list listed, but anytime people engage with Undead Labs, this is an item people are always asking for, so they absolutely know people want to see a feature like this implemented into the game. So if you guys personally head on over to this page, we can kind of get a glimpse into the mind of what Undead Labs wants to add to the next game, and they are directly using your feedback from this wish list. So make sure you guys head on on over and let your voice be heard. But for me, guys, the relationship system will be something we haven't seen in this type of game, and that is essentially a sandbox zombie apocalyptic game. I mean, sure guys, you see it in scripted story-based games, but not a full-blown dynamic sandbox title like this one's gonna be. And that alone, that implementation for me will have State of Decay 3 stand out from most other games in this genre. Now, another piece of news that came out, this was around November, and it caught my eye in regards to the next game, and this was a pretty insightful interview with Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios. I want you guys to take a minute to listen to what he had to say about the upcoming Undead Labs game.
And I mentioned Undead Labs, right? Great studio, but you know, they're a relatively modest sized studio. You know, we don't have 300 people working on State of Decay 3, but there is a desire. We want that game to compete. We want it to compete visually. You know, one of the things that the team there is really focused on is animation technology, being able to really up for State of Decay 3, the interactivity between the player and the environment, and some of the things that the coalition is working on for their next project directly applies to that. So there's just been a lot of great sharing. It's cool to be able to go and see an update and see a demo and hear the team say, oh, and here's this code that we got, you know, from the coalition, and look at how we put it to work. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. And I didn't see that in State of Decay 2. That's pretty cool, right?
All right, so let's pick apart what he said. He noted the team isn't as big, and he's right. When compared to some of the bigger studios that do AAA games, this was recently pulled, and it shows the team is a relatively moderate size. It says about 130, and that does confirm the number on LinkedIn. I think it's at 129. Keep in mind, Undead Labs is bigger than it's actually ever been, even at this size. This has always been a small indie studio, at best producing AA games, not even AAA. State of Decay 3 will be their first AAA title produced by Undead Labs. Another thing he mentioned was animation technology, and we've definitely have seen that word quite a lot through job listings, interviews, and what I come away with all that is just going to be a next-gen quality title with animations, especially since they are using Unreal Engine 5, and at this point that's all been confirmed that's the engine that's going to be used. The one thing that did catch me a bit was him saying the increasing interactivity between the player and the environment, which to me makes a ton of sense for a post-apocalyptic title where you're the survivor and you have to engage in every bit of your surrounding to survive. So this almost gave me a sense of what we're really going to see is another level of interactions with this franchise that we haven't seen before. Could we potentially start breaking down buildings, maybe like Minecraft style, to get resources needed for your own means in your community? I mean, when you think of surviving in a situation like that in real life, you literally would probably pull every bit of resource around you to survive. And then finally, he mentioned the working together with the coalition, which we've talked about before on this channel. They are the developer for several games, mostly the Gears franchise. So this team of 130 or more might be smaller compared to other AAA studios, but they're actually pulling work from other studios to help alongside for this game to be created. It's a true group effort within the Xbox Game Studios. And again, for me, this is going to be raising the bar and the quality for State of Decay 3, and I have to say, I mean, not to keep the hype going, but it does get me excited. And then finally, we got a piece of news that actually came out today, and that is that State of Decay 3 is set to have in-game cinematics. This was found via a LinkedIn page. A gentleman named Alan, who works as a senior cinematic artist, he has it on his page that his specialty is, and keep in mind, this is in-game cinematics, not a fancy game movie trailer cinematic thing. I actually thought this was a little neat find as the game just continues to kind of come along, and really, like, you start to get little glimpses of what their plans are. I'm personally hoping that this year in 2023 we actually get an update as to what's going on with this game. I still kind of expect maybe a late 2024 release, but if the year continues with no information in 2023, god guys, we might be pushing a release date of any sort of just hope that it might not be until even 2025. And to me, that's just wild, since my goodness, we got that trailer years ago. So man, it's just been very fascinating following the team, and all the little tidbits and all the little hints that we keep getting does give me some really good excitement for this game. But at the same time, man, it has been a while, and I do hope that we finally get some information about this game in any way, shape, or form. Heck, just throw us some artwork, guys, and I know they listen to these videos, so guys, please give us some love. With that, if you guys want a full breakdown of all the sleuthing and information I've managed to find on State of Decay 3 over the years, you're going to want to check out this video on the screen.